I would like to acknowledge the traditional owners and custodians of the land on which we are recording this podcast, the Bidjigal and Gadigal people of the Eora Nation. We pay respects to elders past and present and extend our respect to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people from all nations of this land. Welcome to the Pick Me Up podcast. We are here with Chrissy McHugh, music video producer,
that's the one,
manager, Dreamscape Creative Agency, all the things. What don't you have on your list, actually? So many, so talented.
Thank you.
Can you tell us a little bit about what you're up to and what's happening for you at the moment?
Sure. So Dreamscape Creative Agency is my business. It's my agency. It's a video production company primarily. Mm-hmm. We want to educate and try and inspire artists to work independently as much as possible. Mm-hmm. And in terms of the video production side, we do lots of different content for artists. So whether that's artwork, photography, music videos, promo videos, social media content, all of that, we can create it for them as well. Give them those digital assets that they need for marketing their music.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
And how did you come up with that, and how did you start wanting to be involved in that kind of space?
How long do we have?
A long time, as long as you want.
Okay, Jesus Christ. All right. So back in 1865, when I was in school, my best friend, Daniel Sabonet, I'll give him a shout out. He wanted to get into acting, and I was a muso. We went to high school together, and so we were were brought up in that world. We really wanted to be a part of it, and we both had, I guess, aspirations to move in more of a performative sense in that space. And then as we kind of grew up and saw, I guess, the harsh realities of how difficult it can be to actually break into that industry, and started to develop, I guess, different passions for different areas of the industry as well. From his side, that took in the form of direction. He wanted to move more into film directing. Mm-hmm. And for me, it actually started as music journalism.
Wow.
So started very, very early in that space, then moved into like booking and touring for a couple of different agencies. Then moved into artist management and development coaching, working with a couple of labels. And then organically, we just started working together on music video shoots. He was starting to move more in that space. I had a big number of artists I was working with personally, and he was wanting to kind of cut his teeth in directing. So we kind of amalgamated what we were doing. And then, organically over time, it just kind of grew, and I became this person that everyone was hitting me up, asking for logos, if I knew anyone who made logos, if I knew anyone who took photos, or if I knew anyone who could shoot their video. And people were just coming to me on Facebook, which was this thing that used to exist way back when. If anyone who's like under the age of 30, they probably have no idea what I'm talking about. But it just very organically kind of happened where I went, okay, this is driving me crazy, having all these people reach out to me for these one-off services, but all these artists tend to want similar things. How can I turn that into a business with one of my best friends and kind of expand upon that? And Dreamscape was born.
Nice.
So that's the short version.
I mean, that was a great version.
Thank you. It wasn't very articulate, but we did our best.
No, it was good.
Thank you.
And the name, Dreamscape, where did that come from?
My dreams.
Yeah, I was going to say, did
literally,
that come from?
It didn't come from anywhere in particular. I could come up with some bullshit one-liner cliche, to be honest, but I don't. Yeah,
I love that though.
It came to me in a dream, literally. Yeah. That's about as cliche as it gets.
Brilliant.
But it just seemed to kind of encompass everything that we were doing. Trying to make dreams a reality for artists as well, and I guess put a visual element or accompaniment to the sonic, to the sound and the audio and what it is that they're working on from their side as the artist as well, and just try to capture that as best we can.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah. Is there something when you do that brings you joy, that makes you really happy?
Yeah, I think the best part about working in production are the absolutely ridiculous requests that you get. So like as an example, just in the past 12 months alone, I've had a request for a barn owl on set.
Interesting.
I've been asked to shoot in various strip clubs, which has meant me spending Valentine's Day at a strip club, talking to a mob boss and trying to persuade them to let me use their space for a music video project that we did actually get across the line
did that
somehow.
Go ahead?
It did. It did actually go ahead. Yeah. Just absolutely ridiculous request to see what we can actually pull off, in such a, sometimes there's a time constraint, sometimes there's limitations with budget, sometimes there's limitations with crew size, all these sorts of things. And how can we turn this concept that we've either been provided or we've pitched to an artist, and I'm the guy that has to pull that together and actually make it work. So a lot of people get really confused about what production's all about, and I'm pretty much the crazy person who the director comes to with a wild concept and goes, so this is what I want to do, this is what's in my brain. I'm the person who has to figure out how to do it. So yeah, it's an interesting one.
You've worked on some pretty big things and with some pretty big artists like Tones and I and Maya. And do you have a favourite artist that you've worked with so far, or a favourite project?
Again, this is like such a cliche answer, I think, for anyone who knows my journey up to this point. But I got a really insane opportunity end of last year to work on an Ed Sheeran music video.
Yes.
So that came about through a really great friend of mine, Elder. He runs House Party, which is his production company, and it all came through him. So he got recognised through a competition that was being run, which was a global comp to basically submit a show reel, and Ed's team would handpick and select who they were going to choose to actually put an official music video together for his latest album that was coming out. So he got the pick for Australia, and we were on a shoot which was for a completely separate client, and he's like, hey, I've got some news for you. I'm like, why, what's going on, what's happening? He's just like, so this comp that I entered? I was like, yeah. He's like, so we got it, and I need you to produce this video alongside me for this artist, and it's happening this soon, and this is what's going on. And so I found myself in Singapore, days out from producing an Ed Sheeran thing, trying to pull together AFL teams last minute and bring on crew last minute. And it was just the most chaotic, rewarding, insane, stressful, amazing situation I think I've ever been in my life on a set. And it was shot over 5 days. And I think, after 5 pages of credits of all the crew that were involved in the making of that video, I think it's by far the best achievement in terms of my skill set and what we were able to pull off in such a short period of time that I have to date so far.
Yeah,
so,
nice.
Yeah.
And do you get nervous having to do something that big?
The pressure of it was definitely felt on that one, just again with time constraints, budgets, all those sorts of things, but also on the days themselves, just having to kind of coordinate hundreds of people as one person is a really difficult task, especially when there's like kids involved, there's multiple locations, you're traveling from set to set, there's so many moving parts. So yeah, that's when the stress kind of kicks in, but it's also when the, I guess what I refer to as like the fuck it moment kicks in as well, where it's like, this is happening like no matter what, you just have to pull it together and make this work, and not let the team down and be everyone's, kind of mother in this situation and just help everyone get through it, because everyone kind of has their moments as well where they panic and freak out. And I think I had mine on the very last day of shooting. I held it together the whole time, and then on the last day I was like, okay, Mama's going to break down now. And so that was my moment. But yeah, up until that point, I think I held it together fairly well.
That's impressive.
Arguably.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
It is that kind of feeling, hey, as a producer, like that you're the one that everyone goes to with their problems as well, and doing all the problem solving. So I can imagine what the pressure would have been like on something like that.
Shit hits the fan. It's the producers you go to, not the directors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've kind of gone straight into everything that you've been up to, but one important thing that I like to do on this podcast is ask people how they are without them answering good or busy.
Okay.
So how are you, Chrissy? Exhausted.
Very tired. Absolutely exhausted. what I do for a living is incredibly rewarding, but at the same time, it comes with having to be on 24/7.
Yep.
So this is something that I'm having to like work on, which might be a nice little segue into, I guess, the mental health side of what Listen Up is all about. But I deal with a lot of burnout.
Yep.
In my work.
Yep.
I deal with a lot of, when you work for yourself, there's kind of an expectation that there aren't designated hours. You're fully available at all times of the day or night, weekends, public holidays, after hours, it doesn't really matter. You've just got to constantly be on and available. And just trying, I guess, this year to set some boundaries to put in place so I'm not so tired all the time and not living off of coffee and, sugar.
The two great things.
Yeah. But it's just not sustainable long term. But look, would love to say ebullient, but truthfully tired. Yeah. Very, very grateful, but tired.
Yeah. Good answer.
Thank you.
And I do want to segue back into that when we talk about mental health. But firstly, we're going to do a top 3.
Okay.
You can say fuck. So I don't even need to look at what your top 3 is because I know.
Great.
Because this was planned
Do you
weeks
know
ago.
what the top 3 are? Or do
I know I don't know your answers, but
I
the
was gonna
category.
say, you're a damn good interviewer
Researcher.
if you know what my answers are already. My God. Okay. Yeah,
So
go
the
for it.
top 3 for you is your top 3 items for a charcuterie board.
You mother.
Now-
Was this you or Liv that's... Yeah, of course it was.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I don't make the top 3, so I don't know the meaning behind this, but just for the listeners, there is some sort of meaning behind why Chrissy is currently being asked to pick her top 3 items for a charcuterie board. Are you going to share that with us? Do you love them? Do you hate them? Do you
I
have a
hate
bad
them now.
Oh, okay.
I hate them now. No, this is just such a ridiculous... Okay, so COVID was an interesting time for everyone. I feel like I honed my skills in grazing boards during that period. I don't know.
So did everyone. Like that was a whole thing.
Yeah, cocktail making, it was a whole... Anyway, so like a couple times I made them for some parties, including for Ali Taylor, which I'm regretting at this very moment. Thank you very much. And it's just become this ongoing thing. I've done it like one time. It was one time. And now it's become this ongoing like running joke. And another girlfriend of mine, again, same thing. I did it like one time and now every fucking meme, video, Instagram reel about these boards. There's like a spooky one for Halloween coming up. It's like, this is your charcuterie board.
So
like,
you've become the charcuterie person
now I'm
in
that
your
person.
circle of
I'm
friends.
like, I've literally done this a couple times, guys. Like, why is this a thing? And
I mean, they must have been amazing.
I guess, yeah.
You've made a mark in people's lives on charcuterie. I can't even say it.
Yeah. Apparently they're just the meat ones. I think the grazing boards have all the other stuff. I don't know.
So what are your top 3 items then?
Oh, Christ. Okay. Well, I'm not much of like...
Mine are olives. Well, my number 1 is olives.
Yeah. Are they chili olives though? Or are they just regular
Sicilian
boring
olives.
Yeah.
I mean, or like chili and garlic.
Yeah, okay. You won me over. Yeah, the chili and garlic. Totally. Chili and garlic olives for sure.
Yeah.
They're a favorite. I want to say chocolate covered pretzels.
Ooh.
With the salty sweet.
Okay. Now I understand this.
Yeah, and I like a good breadstick.
Yes. You're an issue here.
This is your fault. You asked for this. I would say a sesame
seed. This is Ali Taylor sitting here watching,
Italian
closely laughing.
Breadstick. Are you happy? Are you pleased with your decisions? Thank you. Yeah.
Approved.
I would say they're the top 3.
I don't know what my other 2 are because I'm like a real sucker for an olive. Brie cheese.
I feel like you just want a bowl of olives.
Yeah, I do. I would be happy with a bowl of olives.
Yeah.
I don't need a whole charcuterie board.
Yeah, apparently not.
Yeah.
No.
Brie cheese.
Okay.
Oh, the third one.
Are you like a deli meat person?
A deli meat person.
Yeah. I feel like that's like the crux of the charcuterie board is like all
the meats.
Yeah.
Like not really.
Okay. My goal.
A quince paste.
That's way too fucking fan. A what? A quince paste?
Yeah. To go with my
side of
cheese.
caviar?
Yeah.
Quince, is that a thing? I feel like
paste.
that's something that you get in like those like shitty end of year like Christmas gift basket things.
Yes.
That's like the one
fucking
leftover
hampers?
thing that just sits in your cupboard for like 6 years until you realise it's very
I'm
well
a Maggie
out of
Beer
date.
quince paste on my brie cheese.
Okay, all right.
With my olives. Yeah.
Fancy. Classy. I like it.
They're my 3. Okay. Thank you for sharing that hidden meaning behind that charcuterie board, actually,
so
because
ridiculous.
I wondered. It was like, we must ask Chrissy. Like, her top 3 has to be.
I wish there was a
charcuterie
more
board.
interesting story behind that, but no, my friends are just assholes and it became a thing for no apparent reason. So here we are.
Here we are talking about our 3 favourite items.
Yeah.
So we're going to move into the mental health section of this podcast, which, as you're aware, Listen Up Music is all about. Chrissy, for those who don't know, is an ambassador for Listen Up Music and has been for a while, or is this the first year?
Too long.
Too long. There we go. Too long.
Not for Listen Up, just for Ali Taylor. Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about why you became an ambassador.
There's different parts to it. I mean, I actually was a young ambassador when I was very young. I was like 15, 16, and I was a young ambassador for another music mental health charity that existed way back when, called Jam for Awareness.
Okay.
And very, very different, I guess, in terms of what they provided. But I've been in this space for a really long time. It's something I'm really passionate about. I know that, it's a niche for a lot of people as well, but it's something that's, not spoken about enough in the music space. And again, like the theme of burnout is something that's very familiar to most people that work in this industry. It's not, generally a standardized one as well. Like there's a lot of learning as you go, and there's a lot of failure and rejection and things that, aren't often talked about. And I guess the artist in me resonates with that pretty strongly, and I can see, and I have seen within my own social circles of people that have been musos and people I have lost in my own life, how that pressure can kind of add up. So it's something that's really close to my heart. And when I first met Ali and he kind of explained what it was all about, there was definitely a gap, I guess, in the market and a need for that. So I've been all for it ever since.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Talking about burnout, I fully relate to that because, I'm not a freelance now. Like, I don't work for myself now. I'm working in a full-time role, but I think I got to that point when I was working as a freelance artist and creative, like having those hours and there's no 9 to 5. It's like, I could wake up at 1 a.m. being like, oh my gosh, I haven't done this or I need to do that. And this pressure of finding the balance, a healthy lifestyle balance. And you were saying that you were working on that kind of thing at the moment. What is it that you're finding helps kind of find that balance?
I'm a list person. I feel like I have to write things down, not just to remember them, but to kind of hold myself accountable. And again, like I said, I think things that I'm trying to do is just be more communicative with clients in terms of boundaries with hours. I guess knowing when to sort of switch the phone off or, leave it away from me so I'm not kind of tempted to reply to the email in the middle of the night or whatever it might be, and just be more present in my social life and personal life. But lists is a big one because I find that if I can kind of itemize and prioritize things, I won't get as overwhelmed. And there's this great book that I'm reading at the moment as well called The Atomic Habit. I don't know if you've heard of it before.
I've heard of this. Yeah.
But it just goes on to talk a little bit about the psychology behind achieving small goals, these little micro goals and that hit of dopamine that you get when you complete a task, no matter how small it is. So I find that if I even write down teeny tiny menial little things and I can kind of cross them off for the day, I'll feel like I've accomplished a little more than if I haven't.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's lots of processes and things I'm trying to put in place at the moment. It's just the committing and sticking to them that you have to adjust to.
Yeah. And I feel like it takes a while to recognize that a small goal is still a win.
100%.
Because I feel like growing up, you get taught what's your dream? What are you aiming for?
The big aspirational
these
things.
huge goals. And then they're so far away.
Yeah, but I mean, for someone, that's not in the right headspace, getting up in the morning can be a big thing.
Such a big goal.
Having a shower, doing your hair, doing your makeup, whatever it is, those things can be little wins, that can set yourself up for the day. So
and
they're
I've
important.
100%. And I've had people in my life that I'm like, if you get up and you get in the shower and put a new outfit on, you're nailing it.
100%.
That's the smallest win that you can have, and just making sure that you're putting those little wins in that are achievable for you and how you work as a person.
Yeah, I don't think there's a one size fits all, but the one common, I guess, theme and denominator with that is that, everyone's going to get a hit of that dopamine or that feeling of like fulfillment if they are achieving just those little things in their own ways, even if they aren't conscious of it at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is like a personal question, and feel free to deflect.
I will tell you to fuck off.
Yep, great. Was there a particular moment in your life, and you briefly mentioned it before when I asked you about being an ambassador, but was there a particular moment in your life that really made you go, mental health is important to me and I need to start looking after mine?
There's been probably 3 significant moments in my life that have been turning points up to this point. And I'm 25, so, you know, long way to go. In all seriousness, no, look, there's been 3 pretty significant turning points where one in particular where I've gone, okay, this was at a point of a very serious danger zone for me. And if I don't make some pretty drastic changes right now, today, this isn't going to last very much longer. So that was back in 2016, 17-ish. I think I've come a pretty long way since then, kind of got the help that I needed. But again, I feel like it's another sort of tie to what Listen Up is all about. I feel like if you've sort of been there mentally and you understand it on that level, if you've lost people, if you've gone through it, it means a whole lot more. But yeah, there's probably been 3 significant times when that's been the case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And are there particular things that you put into place? You talked about managing your burnout with the lists, but are there particular things you put into place to look after your mental health now? Or then?
Yeah, I mean, then it was much more, I was much more proactive with things like therapy, knowing when I needed help, kind of understanding my triggers. I guess just this, like the self-awareness is the biggest part. It's really interesting in therapy because anyone who's sort of been to therapy or especially has been for over long periods of time, when they start, there's almost like a glass shatter moment where you go, wow, like I fully understand myself. And you can look at other people and go, I understand why they're like that or they're saying that way. Like you can kind of, it's almost like a matrix sort of situation where you can kind of see the world differently once you have had that experience.
Yeah.
And yeah, I feel like I've gone through that process. But I always generally if someone is struggling, I would encourage therapy, feeling, if they need to feel like they've got to speak to someone, that's a really important thing. Reaching out to people is a really important thing. Knowing that if someone looks great on the outside doesn't necessarily mean that they're good on the inside, and just having those general check-ins with people you care about as well. But it works both ways. I think that's really important too.
Yep.
But yeah, for me, it's like listening to music. I get a lot of enjoyment out of my work, so I do tend to throw myself into that a lot. So again, it's a double-edged sword. Yeah, because I can love it and it's a great sort of distraction sometimes, but at the same time, it can also add to the problem.
Yeah.
So just trying to recognize when I'm headed more that way as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really hard, or I've had experience it being really difficult to find a good therapist.
Yes, it is.
That is a journey.
It is. Yeah.
Just like that's such a difficult thing.
And my real proper experience with a therapist that I was very happy with, who, made all their breakthroughs with me, was someone that I so savagely misjudged on first impressions as well.
Yeah.
So a lot of people, they might investigate therapy for the first time, and it's a very vulnerable thing to kind of go through as well. You've got to be really open to understanding the process and not thinking it's a one-time session fix that's just going to solve it all for you. But I very harshly misjudged someone who went on to be one of the best things that ever happened to me in my life. Because firstly, he was male. Secondly, he wasn't white. And these were all things that I held myself, I guess, accountable for once I realized how wrong I was as well. But he was by far the best thing that could have possibly happened to me at that moment. And he was also someone who taught me that accountability. So yeah, it was a very enlightening moment. So I would also say, like, my advice on that would be, don't just judge a book by its cover. or just assume that after the first session, if things aren't just completely fixed and solved for you, that you should just give up.
Yeah.
Give things time. And yeah, just be kinder, I guess, with that whole process.
Yeah, it is a process, hey?
Yeah, definitely.
And getting used to and comfortable to speaking to like an unfamiliar, which often is a good thing.
Yeah, for sure.
But an uncomfortable thing sometimes, because people are used to, you know, reaching out to their friends or family or their network around them.
Absolutely.
Getting used to opening up to someone who's completely foreign is a big learning curve, I feel.
Definitely, yeah. But again, it is also important to find someone that does fit and that you are comfortable with.
Yes,
like,
I agree.
you know, but all I'm saying, I guess, with that is don't see someone once and just assume it's absolutely a no-go because you've had maybe not the outcome you were hoping for immediately. Don't assume that this is going to be like TikTok.
Oh
or
my gosh.
get that
Isn't
instant
the thing,
gratification.
hey?
Like it's just not going to happen.
The 30-second, like...
Exactly. Yeah. You're not going to get that instant gratification. You need to give it time.
Yeah.
So be open to trialing people out. Absolutely. But don't just dismiss someone on first impressions as well.
Yep. And do you have, and I mean, I already know the answer to this, but like a good community and network of people around you that support you and uplift you? And what do they do to do that?
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, like I am still one of these people that unless I'm kind of asked, I'm not going to give away too much. I don't want to sort of, what's the word? There's a word. It's like trauma. Is it trauma dumping or something? I think I heard that recently.
The Gen Zs.
Yeah.
Trauma dump.
Yeah. I don't want to kind of be that guy in a situation as well. So I think there's a time and place. But generally I try to just self-manage as best I can or speak to professionals and people I know can handle that. Particularly if I feel like the people in my closest circles are dealing with their own issues and struggles. I don't want them to feel like they need to provide a solution or an answer for me.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I can sort of speak openly to them about it without that expectation, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just think it's so important. And that's what I love about Listen Up is building that community of sharing stories and
it's a great outlet for it.
Yeah. And like, I think, and I'm not speaking on behalf of anyone in particular, but it is tricky to find a community for that for some. And I think that's just so cool that Listen Up is doing that.
Yeah. It's empowering and like getting to, you know, be a part of the shows and the upcoming grand and all of that and just see the level, not only like the level of talent, but storytelling behind it all and just to see what a huge weight off their shoulders this is for some artists to be able to kind of share that with the world in a safe space and feel seen and heard. And yeah, it's really beautiful.
And with the artists, just going back to your work, like with the artists that you work with through your agency, do you find that a lot of them are connecting with mental health in their music videos and their songwriting?
I'm working on a piece as we speak, which is actually a spoken word song/poem, but it's about sexual assault. And the artist that I'm working with on this, I've been working with for a few months, is writing a whole like album on DV and a bunch of other pretty heavy subject matter. And putting this together and just being very mindful of the number of people that are on set for this particular piece, how we're executing it, making sure that it is a safe space, that she does feel comfortable, that it is a very vulnerable kind of situation to be in. All of that plays a very big part in what I do from the production side.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's nice that people trust in me to be able to deliver that story and be a part of that journey with them in their healing and all of that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very cool.
Do you find that you've got the confidence to do that, but then look after yourself with, you know, having that around you and
yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where if I know I've got something like that coming up, I can schedule a break. Yeah. You know, you don't want to kind of jump into something like that and then the next day you've got like a dance clip or, some high energy, like, you're probably going to be in a bit of a lull after something like that.
Yeah.
Right. So I think giving yourself appropriate breaks and like even down to things like putting together a run sheet through the day and just making sure that there's time for check-ins, there's time to take a break and just make sure the artist is comfortable, everyone on set is comfortable. Just all those sorts of things really go the extra mile as well, just to make sure everyone's okay. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Such a cool person, Chrissy.
Oh, thank you. You
Doing
too.
such cool things.
Look at this outfit.
The denim jumpsuit.
I love it. So good.
Is there anything else you want to talk about, want to add?
I don't think so. You managed to make it the whole way through without saying the worst word ever, which I was almost certain was going to happen. So I'm impressed by
Moist.
that. Oh, fuck. We were so close.
Why didn't we put that in the scenario? Oh, she would have guessed it.
It was a pretty good top 3, to be fair. I wasn't expecting that.
I wasn't expecting chocolate.
He liked the
pretzels.
breadstick part. He was, he lost his shit. I like a good breadstick.
A fucking breadstick.
Yeah.
We're going to do it. Sorry.
No,
Did you have something you wanted to add?
No, I have nothing.
Okay. Are you sure?
I'm sure.
Okay. We're going to finish with scenario.
Oh, okay.
Which, again, Ali Taylor writes.
Of course.
But he did give me a list, so I had to pick.
Okay.
So I guess the judgment can go to me here.
Okay.
So I'm going to sit a bit close to you if that's okay.
Yeah.
Because we're going to make a frame in which camera? Sorry, Justin. Oh, cool.
Sure.
I won't get it all up in your space.
As you were. Go on, hit me with
Okay, you ready? Oh, wait. Oh, no, Chrissy. Here we go. You are looking at photos from when you were younger and stumble across a photo of yourself, Chrissy McHugh, hugging Jeff the Purple Wiggle.
Oh, fuck. Okay. That's the sleepy
Shall
one,
I be
right?
the Purple
Is
Wiggle?
that the sleepy one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Should I be Jeff?
Yeah.
Do I just sleep?
Yeah.
Okay, ready? 3, 2,
Wait, am I hugging you? What are we
go
doing?
for it.
Okay.
Ready? 3, 2, 1. Wholesome.
Cute. Cute.
I feel like that's the cutest one so far.
Aww. I love it.
Well, thank you so much, Chrissy, for joining me on the Pick Me Up podcast.
Thank you.
It's been
This has
so
been fun.
nice. I always think you have such a cool vibe.
Oh, God.
Coolest person in the room.
Aw, that's sweet. Thank you. Appreciate it. It's just the pants, to be honest.
Honestly, the pants are fully sick. They're so cool. I feel like a 90s kid saying that. Like, fully sick, brother. We're going to put Chrissy's socials in the show notes, and make sure you check out all the cool things that she's up to. Dreamscape Creative Agency as well, all the fun stuff and all the artists that she's working with. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.